And Flukiger will get the serve. A little help from the net for the Governors. Flukiger blocked, kept alive. And a little drop shot, and Flukiger responsible for the first 2 points for the Hatters to get them started.
Absolutely, and you can see right now the court that they are on as well has been the one where everybody's been warming up on. So it's already been worn in a little bit. You're starting to see some of the feet already starting to slide throughout their play on the beach.
2-0 in favor of Stetson, and an ace right down the middle.
And that's just miscommunication. She hit it down the middle, and you saw both players for Austin Peay look at each other thinking the other one was going to get it. There needs to be a little bit more communication when determining who's going to go for each ball.
So 3-0 quickly for the top seeds. The Stetson team been the top seed in this championship over the years all but one time. That was 2 years ago. They're seeking their 5th ever NCAA tournament bid. Of course, the winner, Joe, of the ASUN championship gets the automatic bid to Gulf Shores.
Right, and that's going to benefit somebody a lot more like an Austin Peay than what it would be a Stetson because of the great season that Stetson has had so far. And now you're seeing where Austin Peay, they have to be able to side out. That's their biggest concern at this moment.
Governor still looking for their first point. And a quick discussion with the chair umpire for the Hatters. The head coaches, Christina Hernandez for Stetson in her 13th season, fresh off yesterday winning her 5th Coach of the Year award in the Atlantic Sun. Her counterpart is Michael Hobson, the head coach for Austin Peay. And the Govs on the board.
Well, and you've seen the way that Hernandez has grown and the way that she's turned this Stetson program into what it is with the amount of conference championships who win and the amount of Coaches of the Year championships that an award she's already gotten, not to mention all the players that are already being named to that first team All-Sun team yesterday.
And another point for Stetson as they change ends after every 7 points. So here's the scoring. Best 2 out of 3 in each match. First to 21, got to win by 2 in the first 2 sets. If it goes to a deciding 3rd set, it's the race to 15. Again, still got to win by 2. As each one of these 5 are called matches. The overall between these 2 teams, the 5 matches, is termed a duel.
Well, and it's a duel that Stetson has never lost to Austin Peay. In fact, right now going in, this is their 4th meeting ever, and Stetson is 15-0 against Austin Peay. So Austin Peay has a lot of history going against them in this set and in these matches that they're just trying to win a match before you can even think about winning a duel.
Set at the net, going cross court, kept alive. Here's Flukiger at the net. Going deep into the court, and that one goes long. We had a great talk a little while ago this morning with Coach Hobson of the Governors. He knows, what he's up against with his team in this Hatters program, a 40-9 tournament record for Stetson. And he believes in his team, though. He says they're a very close team, probably the closest team that he's ever coached.
Well, and I think that with a lot of that goes into building the culture that he is trying to build through his first few seasons that he's been at Austin Peay. And I think that because he's starting to build the culture, it may be something that may not finish off with this year and with the success on the court this year. But as this team continues to grow, especially with the amount of freshmen that they have, that is where this is going to turn into a program that is going to be as closely knit and start winning the way that he's hoping.
7-3 in favor of the Hatters here in the opening set. And down the line and the point for the Govs. And a great job there by Cooper and Raby at the net. Cooper, a senior, and her partner Sage Raby, just a freshman. 5'7" from Nolensville, Tennessee. Cirillo sets. And blocked at the net, but out, and the point for the Govs.
You mentioned the fact that she is from Nolensville, that Nashville area, trying to grow beach volleyball, very similar to how they've been trying to grow hockey in their time around the Nashville area. And now you're starting to see more local girls start to kind of grow up into this sport, not just indoor, but outside and playing on the beach as well.
Great dig out of there by the Govs. And into the open court, cross court for Julia Zurillo, the academic all-ASUN performer from Poland. And a big week for Julia and her family. Her parents are here from Poland to watch her as she gets set to serve here in the ASUN Championship. That's got to be very exciting. And an ace service winner down the middle to make it 9-5. And a change of ends. Well,
and you're starting to see as well Stetson understanding about the communication with Austin Peay, and more serves than not have went in between both Cooper and Raby, and that's where you're now starting to see that Stetson saying, look, until they fix this issue, we're going to take advantage of it. That's the reason why the ace just happened right now, is because Stetson is using that skill that they see of these two ladies right now are not communicating the way that they need to figure out who's going to go into the middle. And Stetson starting to get the points off of the lack of communication.
This one goes down the line and dumped into the net that time by Cooper. So an unforced error. Cooper from Quebec in Canada. She is a transfer in from Cal State Bakersfield. A 10-5 and a good start for the top-seeded Hatters in this three-pair. The set for Raby. Deep into the court, and it goes long.
Well, and she was just trying to get enough velocity to get it over the head of Stetson, but with a little bit too much touch on it. She has a little bit more loft on that. That's going to drop in right in front of the line, which is what she was trying to do.
Help from the net on that serve. And into the open court is Cooper for the winner, and the Govs will get the serve back. Austin Peay coming in 14-17 on the year. Stetson 23-9 on a very tough schedule, as is often the case with Coach Hernandez. Schedule's very tough. Some of the top teams across the country, they're ranked number 14 in the nation in the AVCA coaches poll. That is tied for the highest they've ever been ranked entering the ASUN tournament. Raby had to dig for that one. Kept alive. Great point. Here's Cooper. And a drop shot, but it stays on her side of the net.
That could be going to a little bit more of that fatigue, because she was trying to just get a little floater right over the net. But you can see now, with as long as that was going, you can see that both her as well as Raby starting to slow down every single time the ball went back up into the air.
12-6 Stetson. The match on court 5 also going on. We'll keep tabs on that one as well. And deep into the corner, what a great kill from Flukiger that time, the freshman. She is on the all-freshman team in the Atlantic Sun. Those awards were given out yesterday, and after 21 points, they will head to a built-in timeout. 13-6. Down the line and just wide from Zurillo.
And talking about with Flukiger and the amount of awards she's already picking up, this tandem that you're seeing with this three-pair and Flukiger is these upsets that they had during their time throughout the season with Stetson. They are not only ranked 14, but they also knocked out and defeated a lot of ranked opponents just in this number 3 pairing that you're starting to see. This is kind of where you're looking at the freshmen starting to have that growth throughout the program, especially late in the season like we've seen with Stetson.
Well set, 14-7. Kind of a football score as we are midway through this first set here on court 3.
And I think that where a lot of this is you're taking this break with 21 points. If you are Austin Peay, that's where you do have to figure out the biggest thing that you've messed up on right now has been on the serve. And you've been having that lack of communication. And so that's what they're going to have to work on going back into this, trying to make sure that Stetson doesn't get to 21 first.
So while that is in a break, we're going to check in just underway on court one. And it is the one pair, and you're taking a look at the Atlantic Sun Conference Pair of the Year. Maria Othaida and Marta Caro of Stetson taking on Austin and Russell of Austin Peay. The two Spaniards, Caro and Othaida, together. Caro a sophomore, Othaida a senior. Very, very formidable team. Not only, perhaps the best team in the Atlantic Sun, but this is one of the best pairs, I'm going to tell you, in the country in beach volleyball.
Oh, absolutely. And you've already been able to see it just through the first 4 points. The way that they communicate, that's going to be the biggest part of this. A lot of these teams and a lot of these pairings are only going to be successful as they communicate, as well as what this pair is doing right now for Stetson. With it only being 2, you have a lot more ground that you have to cover, and you start to see the way that that communication is starting to play into this as we start to get along in this first duel.
The first 5 points to this one pair from Stetson. We're talking to Coach Hernandez. These two really wanted to play together. The coaches were clear about it at the beginning of the season, though they had to earn it if they wanted to be together. And at first, they weren't totally in sync. They had to kind of improve. Coach Hernandez said that she needed to see some improvement in their pregame habits. And they have done that as the year has gone on. And wouldn't you know, they go on to win Pair of the Year in the conference.
Well, and that comes from them both being from Spain, and there seems that camaraderie that you see a lot of this and how it is being set, and that's the reason why they were able to gel the way they are, and you saw that growth quickly throughout the early part of the season for them to become this #1 pair for Stetson.
Mm-hmm. Coach Hernandez said the great thing about this duo is when she needed to be honest with them about what they needed to improve on, she could be. They listened, they paid attention, and they responded, and they have gone on an incredible run ever since those early struggles.
Well, and you see it right now as well, with as much as they're dominating in this #1 pair duel that you're starting to see in this match. I'm wanting to see now as they continue to do this is if Austin Peay can turn around and get much, as they just scored there in that back right corner, because these two ladies are very agile on the sand. They have the ability to communicate that way to make sure that they're getting and making the most of their wingspan.
So the first serve for Austin and Russell. It'll be Isabella Russell, an ASUN all-freshman team member. Again, those awards just given out yesterday. And down the middle, right through the block is the big kill from Marta Caro.
And I think that with Russell, you've been able to see her as she performs, is how well she's been as a freshman. The 13 wins that she currently has right now on the first flight is the 3rd most in program history for a freshman. That says a lot about where she is. And again, this Austin Peay team has a lot of those freshmen so far on this team as they've had to grow through the first few years that the coach has been there.
And Coach Hobson told us that when he took over 2 years ago, he had 2 players. And so he's had to really build this program, bring in players through the transfer portal and in other matters and manners as far as recruiting goes. But a lot of transfers on this program. They won 3 matches, 3 duels all of last season. They quadrupled that win total this year. And he told us, he joked with us, he said if that math continues quadrupling, they'll win the national championship next year.
Absolutely. It's going to be it. They'll be the 1 seed coming into the ASUN tournament next season, and they'll have that regular season championship underway. And then in a couple of years, he will be Stetson. Is basically what he's trying to say with the amount of wins that he's expecting to have with the growth of the program.
Absolutely. Great attitude coming in, and Coach Hobson and his assistant Sarah Riedel done a lot to grow the Austin P program.
And had to do a lot of this through the transfer portal. I mean, it's not, again, you're in Clarksville, Tennessee. You are in a place where the state is trying to grow. You can kind of see throughout the ASUN the difference between the schools that are in Florida and the schools that are not in Florida, and the abilities that they have and the recruits that they're bringing in. He has a little bit more difficult road when it comes to getting somebody to come up to Clarksville, Tennessee, as compared to the same schools like a Stetson, like an FGCU, and even to an extent, even North Alabama.
Austin pushes that one wide, but good point. And 9 transfers on this Austin P team, including one, Addie Hultquist from Florida State, a perennial top 5, top 10 program in this country.
Not only is she from Florida State, she's from Tallahassee. So that's a school she grew up with and grew up watching and wanted to play for, and chose to come to Austin P rather than stay at Florida State. And that was a big get for this Austin P team.
It's moves like that have translated into the 14 wins this season. So really good trajectory right now for this Austin P program. But right now, if you're a Stetson fan, you got to like the trajectory of this first set. As Othaida and Caro, the Spanish duo, on top now, 15-3 in the first set.
And right now, across the board, Stetson is leading in every single one of these sets, which goes back to what we've talked about with Austin P. Before they can even win a match or even thinking about winning a duel, they need to be able to win that first set, because they're 0 for 15 against the Stetson team throughout this rivalry so far.
And that one, another big kill through the block for Othaida from Madrid. She is a senior. Stetson this season, 6-1 versus ASUN for Maddie Camp and Kayla Sutton of Stetson as they get started here in set number 2.
And as you're looking at the different courts as that we've been kind of going around with this pairing here on 5, Camp and Sutton, this isn't a place that Camp has been playing at just for Stetson, because she transferred in from North Florida, where she's also had some success in the ASUN tournament as well. So even being a part of that 5 pairing that she's in, you were able to see the way that Stetson was able to take control of that, and that's the reason why they were able to win that first set 21-8.
And Camp with a nice placement there just over the net with the little dropper. They had a good start for Stetson. We got you started this morning over on court 3, and we want to let you know that Julia Zerillo and Zoe Flukiger have won the first set on court 3 against Cooper and Raby. And Joe, you talked about Maddie Camp here, and this team for Stetson, her and her sister, Katie Camp, who plays in the 4 pairs, both transferred from UNF. Dad was in military, and they travel everywhere with their 2 dogs.
Absolutely, which is kind of what you see with a lot of these military families being now in Huntsville, where this is a massive military community, that this city and this has embraced this ASUN tournament. And even now with us being back at Court 1, you were starting to see where the veteran leadership and this camaraderie that you're seeing between the pair for Stetson, how successful they are in being able to dominate so far just through the first set. Also be kind of cool just to go around and be able to travel and watch your daughters play together, and for a Division I program, that would be kind of fun as well.
No question. Back on court 1, as you mentioned. Hatters steamrolling here, trying to wrap up this first set, and they get another point on the kill cross court from Othaida, the 5'8" senior, to make it 18-6.
Well, and when she was going up for the kill, you could see Austin starting to kind of gravitate towards that left side of the court, and you were able to see whenever goes up, able to make it where she has to fall down because she can't get her feet underneath her, and it just leaves a wide open spot for the ball to land.
Up from the net over on the 2 for Stetson, but the point for the Govs.
Net violation on that one.
They're going to give the point to the Hatters.
Never mind, that is not a net violation.
So what a 19-6 and 2 points away. And a great drop shot into the open court.
And what I love is with this, the way that you're able to use your peripheral vision, being able to see the way the Hatters are set up, and knowing that you can control your body enough to move the ball over to those open spots is great to be able to watch these ladies do that so far early on in these sets.
A dipping serve. Blocked at the net. Here's Caro down the line. And good. And that takes Stetson to set point. At 20-6, a dominating performance here by this one pair. Again, Stetson, the top seed. Place they're used to, and that one inside the line. And the Atlantic Sun Conference Pair of the Year getting it done in the first set as they win it 21-7 here at the ASUN Beach Volleyball Championship. So first sets in hand so far for Stetson on court 3 and on court 1, not surprisingly, against this upstart Austin Peay team.
Yes, as well as on court 5 as well. You're starting, this is where now Austin Peay, they know what they're up against. And now they've been able, even though they've seen them on the court for the same amount of time through all these sets, now you got to make these adjustments and be able to go, because this comes down a lot to the volleyball knowledge and the way that these players are playing during each individual set.
All right, let's bounce across the complex to court 5. And it's the 5 pair for Austin Peay. Loers and Missig, having dropped the first set against Madeline Camp and Kayla Sutton. We checked in on this a short while ago. Back here on court 5 as we get started here in the second set. With the lefty swinger Sutton for Stetson.
It's a great dig.
Austin Peay trying to control this point, but here come the Hatters with the big power. And that one too much into the open court, and Stetson gets started in set number 2.
Yeah, and Missig was looking back. She knew she needed to get back. She knew that that was her area, but with the time that it went with that point, you start to try to figure out how you're going to end this, and Stetson was able to do it much better than what Austin Peay was at that point in time. But great job as well, knowing where the line was to let the ball travel past it and get the point.
Yep. And that serve goes long, and so the Governors will serve. A topsy-turvy year for the Stetson team. Had a 10-match winning streak about midway. Also a stretch where they won 8 out of 9. A tough end of the season. They lost 4 of 7 against, again, good competition coming into the ASUN tournament.
Yeah, there's one thing about losing 4 of 7. Then you look at who the 4 losses were against.
Exactly.
And it's the top 13 teams. It's South Carolina, it's Arizona State, and those types of teams. It's not like you were losing to the bottom of the beach volleyball world. You're losing to some of the top 25 teams in the country.
Stetson versus ranked opponents this season, Joe, 3-9. They beat South Carolina, played them several times, beat North Florida, beat FAU. Another kill and a point for Stetson. Their losses against ranked opponents: UNF, South Carolina, Grand Canyon, Arizona State, you mentioned, Florida State, Long Beach State, Loyola Marymount, and USC.
And if you look at the South Carolina matchups, they won 2 of those 3.
That's right.
One time when South Carolina was ranked, the other time when they were unranked. So they've gotten to see South Carolina more than they've seen some of their own ASUN teams.
It's true. The Gamecocks, a program on the rise, and a big kill down the line. Let's bounce over to court 2. And our first look, Cudmore and Radulchik for Stetson. The ASUN Freshman of the Year, Cudmore. ASUN first teamer in Julia Radulchik.
Yeah, Cudmore, you could write up all of her accolades that she's already accomplished so far through her freshman year, and it would probably take the remainder of this set just to try to do so because first team all ASUN, you also have the freshman of the year, and you're seeing the way that she's been playing just in the number 2 pairing. You can see that if it wasn't for as good of a camaraderie that you see between the 2 Spaniards in the first pairing, then you would really have a discussion about Cudmore having to be on that pairing in that pairing in place of one of these 2.
It's an embarrassment of riches right now for the Stetson team.
Yeah, 4 players made the first team All-Sun. That's not a bad thing at all. And that's the reason why we say they're coming into this with bigger goals. But first they want to win this ASUN tournament, which they haven't done in the last couple of seasons.
Got a little help from the net right there on that point, too, to get them to a big handful of set points right here against Boswell and Hope of the Govs.
That did hit the line right in the very back. Point's going to go towards.
Great dig that time by the Governors. Got to send it over on that third. Here's Camp setting Sutton. Good point. Maddie Camp. And a little drop shot, and it's good. And that takes this Stetson pair to match point.
Well, and with that, you can see Austin Peay, even though this set and that point was going long for a period for both teams, you start to see which pair was staying closer and wasn't having to move around as much. Austin Peay was having to run all over their side of the court compared to where Stetson was, and Stetson picks up the point.
Good serve, a dipping serve that time by Sutton. Sutton, and Camp sets for Sutton in the left swing. And a great kill down the middle, and the Govs stay alive. Lures and missing. Got a bunch more match points to fight off, though.
You got a ways to go if you're going to be able to pull this upset.
Maddie Camp down the line, kept alive. And over
Beautiful.
on the 2. And Camp saw the opening, and she took it. And Stetson wins the match on court 5, 21-8 and 21-6. So the Hatters move one step closer to clinching this first round battle.
Yeah, and a lot of that, it came down to body control and being able to control the ball and being able to not only to get over and get the points and find your areas, but also making sure that you weren't utilizing too much energy this late into the match. The way that Sutton was doing it, Austin Peay was having to get a lot of miles around the beach just to be able to try to keep up with what Stetson was doing.
All right, to court 3. Julia Cirillo, Zoe Flukiger of the Hatters against Cooper and Raby. We've been on this court several times, and Cooper and Raby kept it pretty competitive there in the first set. But right now, this Stetson pair with a sizable lead here in set number 2. Stetson has done well on neutral courts. This is where they are this week. 9-3 this season on neutral courts. They were great at home, too. 11-2 as they dumped that serve into the net. Unforced error from Cirillo.
And Austin Peay needs to take advantage of this. What Stetson was trying to set up is, once again, going in between Cooper and Raby, which is where they got a lot of aces, especially in that first set. Now, with the mistake, let's see if Austin Peay can make up for it and gain some ground back.
Saw the opening. How about Austin Peay keeping this point
Fantastic.
alive? Going way off the court to get it. But cross court for Cirillo. Beautiful angle on the inside out.
Well, and doing it, you saw Stetson set up Raby in the backside. She started floating towards the middle, which is where Stetson had been firing a lot throughout this last couple of sets and points, and in doing so, left that far left side wide open so that you could find that area and get the ball down in between the lines.
17-9. Yeah, check that, 18-9. Change of ends and a timeout. So Stetson looking like every bit the #1 seed that they are in this championship. And, you know, this Hatters team, Joe, has a chip on its shoulder. They have lost in the championship the last 2 years. As we go over to court number 2, they've lost to their rival UNF. They want that trophy back in DeLand.
Well, absolutely. And when you look at the ASUN and when it comes to beach volleyball, Stetson and North Florida, this is where you believe the championship game is going towards. You can see it in any sort of sport a lot of times where you're saying, okay, these games are great, these matches are great, but we know where this is heading. We know which pair we believe we are going to see in the championship one. And you can see that Stetson and North Florida just come into this contest and into this tournament thinking a little bit higher than what the rest are because they see themselves separated from the remainder of the ASUN. Like it or not, that's just how their thought process is now, and it plays into that chip.
That's their belief. But there are some other teams out there that believe that it could be their chance to break through as well. FGCU, North Alabama are 2 of them, Jacksonville as well.
And FGCU is, you want to talk about bridesmaids.
They have been knocking on the door, I'm telling you, Joe, year after year after year. Here on court 2, Boswell and Hope with a lead here in the early stages of set number 2. Ashley Boswell's the junior from Washington, and Bailey Hope, a junior from Spanish Fort, Alabama, a Louisiana Monroe transfer.
Well, and this is where now just them having a lead at this point, because you've already seen Stetson sweep 1 match so far. Austin Peay has never won a set against Stetson. So that's where, you know, you think about they have a 7-6 lead right now. That's a very big deal, especially in this series, that Austin Peay at the moment has a lead, and that's what they're trying to get. They're just trying to get a win in the very first set that they can.
8-6 as they'll change ends. So credit to the Govs for a good start here. Boswell, incidentally, for Austin Peay, also a transfer from Stephen F. Austin, and that happened largely because Stephen F. Austin folded their beach volleyball program, so she needed a home and found it with Austin Peay.
Well, and taking advantage is Austin Peay bringing in these transfers when they needed bodies.
That's right. That's right. I mean, mutually beneficial.
You didn't when Coach took over. You didn't need a meeting room. You just needed a couch. That was all you needed to have your team meeting.
Only with 2. We talked about that earlier. Only with 2 players when Coach Hobson took over, and he's done a terrific job of bringing in great talent and increasing their win total again exponentially over these past 2 years. So good on Coach Hobson for really the work he's done in building this program.
Well, and Austin Peay in general is trying to build multiple programs across their university and trying to do it in a state where the state is wanting to grow its brand in the Division I realm the way that the state of Tennessee currently is.
On court 3 now, Zerillo and Flukiger with a match point. Austin Peay serving, Cooper and Raby. Cooper trying to keep it alive, but Stetson too much as they win it. 21-15, 21-11. There you see Christina Hernandez, the Stetson head coach, coming out onto the court to congratulate her pair and the Austin Peay duo as well for a great battle. But Stetson wins yet another match as they get closer to clinching this opening duel of the ASUN Championship.
Yeah, and in fact, the first 2 sets and the first 2 matches that have already taken place for Stetson and Austin Peay, they've already ended with Stetson winning both of those. So now with the 3 remaining that we're seeing on court 1, 2, and 4, they just need one more victory, and they're already going to be moving into the second round in the winner's bracket.
They're close, and it could come to an end here momentarily. We'll step aside briefly and be back to Huntsville after this. As they try to wrap up this match, which would clinch things for the Hatters, they've got to serve at 18-15.
And you're starting to see as well with the way that Austin Peay has been built. We've talked with Coach about the players that he has brought in on this. If you look at the matches that are already over with, those are part of his 3rd pairing, his 5th pairing. But when you look at his 2nd and 1st pairing, like what we're watching right now, the 1st pairings keeping is tight with Stetson. You can see how the top of Coach's Austin Peay roster is when it comes to the talent there at the top. It's depth now that he's having to work on.
Absolutely. This is a good pair, as you say, Austin and Russell, but it's 19-16 as they'll change ends, Zotheda and Caro.
And I think that regardless as to this, because right now Stetson is up 2 to nothing when it comes to match totals. They just need one more to be able to clinch the duel. But what I'm looking at as well is Coach is going to have a lot of good and positives that he can take away from this match leading into the next one in the loser's bracket from Austin Peay, because especially with these top 2 pairings, they have been playing very well up against some of the best players, not just in the ASUN, but also best pairings in the country.
No question. A great winner down the line that time by Austin Peay. They're serving at 17-19, and a big kill, and that one might have hit right on the baseline for the Hatters, and they now have arrived at match point.
Oh, absolutely. It was an absolute tremendous vertical that you were able to see, and being able to get it down right into the line. That is what Stetson has done, especially with this pairing of the year.
And over for Austin Peay. They stay alive and pull to within 2. This team will not go quietly.
It absolutely won't. You're starting to see why this is the #1 pairing for Austin Peay, is because even though they're going up against the pair of the year, they know that they can hold their own, and you're starting to see it, especially through this second set.
Down the line, and I think it's good.
It is.
Right on the line, right in front of us.
Yeah, I was able to look at it as it hit and saw it landed right on the line. And a beautiful shot that, again, now you're within 1, so you're going to get a little bit of extended time depending on what happens with this point.
That's this team of Russell and Austin. And that serve just sails long, and a tough way to end it if you're the Govs, as they really battled their hearts out here on court 1. Kept it tight in the second set, but it's the Hatters that win it 21-7, 21-19. And Joe, they have clinched now this opening match. So the Stetson Hatters will advance in the bracket and face tomorrow the winner of 4th seed North Alabama and the 5th seeded Jacksonville Dolphins.
Well, and now it's just playing for pride, because still you're looking at a Stetson team that has won every single set that they've ever played against Austin Peay in their 4 meetings now. But on court 2, you're looking at a possibility of Boswell and Hope being able to break that trend. And what we've been talking about, and just winning a set right now would be huge for Austin Peay.
And like you've talked about, that Austin Peay has never done that before, not even a set.
Not even a set.
Stetson. And well, they're close. It's 16 all right now. Cudmore and Raduljic will get the serve back.
And right now, with these 2 matches still going on, Stetson is now 18-0 against Austin Peay.
Incredible.
In this series.
Julia Raduljic from Jelm, Poland, serving. Down the line.
Beautiful.
And the winner right there for number 21, Ashley Boswell, the 6'1" junior. She is that Stephen F. Austin transfer that we talked about when that program went under.
It went across her body there. The Stetson pair was looking, thinking that she was going to go right, and she found that lane right on the left side to knock it down into.
E.J. Cudmore, big power on that spike kill for the freshman from Ontario, Canada. The ASUN Freshman of the Year. She is set to serve. 17 apiece. And an unforced error and a point for the Hatters as they'll change ends. 18-17 now, just 3 points from wrapping up this match.
Well, and the unforced errors was something that obviously is the reason why they're named that, is that something that you do wrong on your own. And you cannot do this if you're an Austin Peay. I know that, again, the duel is over, but as far as this single set is concerned, you want to be able to win one set and win this one, and the unforced errors are not going to help you do this at all.
The set for Radulchik. Down the line to get to 19-17. So an end change.
Being the last one of the 5.
With Cudmore serving, the freshman of the year. Trying to put the final nail in this. Cudmore sets. Radulchik. Great dig by the Govs to get it back across. Cudmore. Too much on that, and the Governors hang around. 2018 now.
Yeah, and you can see the way that Austin Peay is still cheering on this pairing. They understand, even though they've lost, first off, the tournament's not over for them. They have the losers bracket to go through, but they still know they want to win a set. That's what this is about.
Cudmore down the line, and Stetson wraps it up in the first duel of the day. 21-11, 21-18.